is John Cullen with GrowingYourGreens.com to do another exciting episode for it. And since you guys asked for it, I got another video with my buddy Josh from the Boogie Brew company. And we're going to talk about something very important, you know. If you guys have been watching me for any length of time, you'll know that from the time I built my raised beds, I've been using one ingredient along with my compost, like way back in the day. And that's rock dust, man. Rock dust is one of the things that I believe you need to put in your garden all the time. And it's essential. And what we're going to do in this video, because Josh doesn't seem to see the benefit, he sees the benefit of...
Well, of course, you know, rock dust ain't the answer, John. I mean, come on, man. The tea, your one-stop shop. I mean, that's what it's all about right here, baby.
No, man, it's a rock dust, and we're going to battle it out today, man. We're going to battle it out, and you guys are going to hear the full story, and if rock dust or compost tea is better for your garden, and why. So, Josh, if you think compost tea is so good, why should you use that instead of rock dust, man?
John, rock dust is not the answer, okay, folks? Maybe it's one answer, but it ain't the answer. I mean, this is a lot of backbreaking work, and some of you out there watching us might think, like, okay, these guys are being like best of frenemies here, you know, like agreeing to disagree. But I think John is crazy that 1 pound of rock dust for every square stinking foot of soil, that's ludicrous. Come on, man. You're going to turn your soil to concrete using that much rock dust.
Dude, no, man. My buddy who's the rock dust expert, he really literally wrote the book. His name is Don Weaver, and he's the one that told me 1 pound per 1 square foot as a generous offering back into the earth of trace minerals. You know, I know some of you guys out there might think like, oh yeah, John, I put compost or composted leaves in my garden, and that gives me all the minerals that I need and all this stuff. But think about this, right? Like, if you're composting the leaves from the trees, if the soil where the tree is growing, if trace minerals are not in that soil, they're not giving the leaves that you're going to compost, right? And trace minerals are essential for life. You know, it's quite unfortunate that most Americans are deficient in trace minerals, and we're supposed to take little supplements. And if all the food was grown in trace minerals, right, we could be optimally healthy. And, you know, there's studies and my empirical evidence of me growing a full garden year after year now for over 10 years, things grow bigger and better in rock dust, Josh.
Yeah, but when did your garden really take off, John? Come on. It was after you started boogieing it, right? Uh-huh.
I mean, that's true, but the rock dust, it's super important. I mean, okay, Josh, take this one, right? Oh, I'm going to jab him back. He's not going to, like, you guys know, like, what came first, the chicken or egg? What came first, rock dust or compost tea? Dude, we're on the earth. This is a freaking rock in the middle of the solar system and really the universe, right? Nothing would exist without the rocks. The rocks is where we came from. The rocks is what's imperative to put back in your garden.
That's true. So, all right. So success leaves clues, all right? So follow the clues. Yes, you've been successful with the rock dust. But do you really think he needed 1 pound per square foot, like continuously? Surely, okay, one time as an initial treatment in a rock dust deficient, in a mineral deficient soil, sure, that might be good, but come on, man, 1 pound per square foot.
No, I recommend it as 1 pound per square foot as an initial offering to the earth to give back generously, because, you know, it's clear, conventional agriculture is literally stripping the soil. They're putting back some chemical fertilizers that we're not going to get into in this episode, Josh, because I know he's going to go off and rant for a while. Chemical fertilizers to give the plant what it needs, but then there's a lot of runoff because they're water soluble. Rock dust is a long-lasting, long-acting nutrient for the soil to feed your plants. Now, you know, while I do add additional rock dust, you know, all the time, I don't always add 1 pound per 1 square foot after every single season. So, you know, I think the most important thing is to get trace minerals into the soil, and rock dust is one of my preferred methods because it's the natural method that the earth does naturally.
But it's a lot of work to take this stuff, all right, backbreakingly go and cast it all. You've got to wear a stupid dust mask so you're not breathing all of that crazy, you know, particulate. And in the amounts that you prescribe, it's almost scary how much rock dust you use. But he's right. Success leaves clues, and the microbes. It's not he's feeding the soil. He's feeding the microbes in the soil, creating that unique electrical charge, that unique electrical field. And actually, speaking of dust and all, I used to subscribe to the whole water-soluble, or, of course, we know rock dust is not, strictly speaking, water-soluble, but the most soluble form of it, right? Actually, we found in our own experiments when we added rock dust to our tea recipe, the most sexy tea, you know, the one with the most foam and just rich and everything, loving it, at least from a visceral perspective, I'm not sure about under a microscope, seem to perform better using granulated ingredients, not using the powdered stuff, you know. It's be careful what you wish for. I think with the amounts you prescribe, if people don't take that somewhat with a grain of salt, maybe there's initial application, John, fine, but then if you keep doing it, you're going to turn this stuff to concrete.
No, dude, no, because you're also adding compost back in organic matter, right? We need organic matter, such as in compost, but we also need the trace minerals and mineral matter. Josh had said it themselves, right? The microbes feed on the minerals, and if you don't got the minerals, you're not going to have the microbes, right? I mean, my whole theory when I started gardening was that if I put the rock dust, like Build It and They Will Come, was that famous, like, you know, Bull Durham movie with Kevin Costner, Build It and They Will Come.
Field of Dreams, yeah.
Field of Dreams, I mean, whatever it is, man. But Build It and They Will Come. If you put rock dust, the microbes will come, but they might not happen that quickly, and without the rock dust, the microbes are not going to thrive that are in the compost tea, Josh. So there.
Well, oh my God, all right. I stand smitten with your propaganda on rock dust, and I agree it really, really works really well. But what's the point in building such a high horsepower engine with that much rock dust if you don't have a high octane fuel to feed it? And with the tea, we already put rock dust in it. I think the best stuff, the one with the most, going back to talking about the powdered versus granulated. Granulated gives you that BSA, bacterial surface area, for the microbes to colonize. And so, I mean, come on, John, the trees they're not like showering down rock dust onto the forest floor, but they are showering down humus. And compost tea is like humus on steroids. So, come on, man.
I don't know, Josh, but like, here's the thing: the glaciers, like up in, the glaciers grind up, and then the water comes off, like the glacial milk in the Himalayas, and then it runs down and feeds the forest. All this kind of stuff. So I mean, it's completely natural. And once again, we're living on a rock. There would be rock dust and all kinds of different rock types and minerals in the ground if we didn't do, stripping of the earth and all the conventional farming and bulldozing where your house was. Rock dust is just supernatural. And let's talk about this, Josh, right? What's easier to apply? I get the rock dust, open it up, I spread it on my garden, or you gotta take the compost, you gotta get it in filtered water, you gotta brew it for 24 hours, you gotta buy a pump, you gotta buy all this stuff to do that, man.
One time, you make that one-time investment in a badass brewer, just like if you can brew a pot of coffee. I know you don't drink coffee, or a pot of in your case, chamomile tea. Oh wait, you're a raw foodist. Well, anyway, a good juicer. There you go. There's a good analogy, right? So once you have that,
no, I just rather eat the fruits and vegetables. Why even get the juicer? Why have to brew shit when you can just open the bag, pour it out, and you're gonna get some results?
Well, he is right. I mean, the Hansa Valley in northern India to Pakistan area, right, in the Himalayas, have the longest living people in the world with the most succulent, tasty, dried apricots. They're famous, right? And they use their mineral water, literally, it's like a milk that's coming out from the glaciers, and it's just, that's what it is. It's glacial rock dust. In fact, I think I heard that technically rock dust, as a technical ag description, is supposed to be a glacially crushed rock matter, is what I understand. So, anyways, we could spar back and forth, we can agree to disagree, and I do think they both have their place. I'm not sure about the quantities John prescribes, and we've sold so much of this rock dust, I'm throwing rocks at these rock boxes, John, So, I would rather see people use a little less rock dust and a little more tea, and we keep trying harder than ever to give people that option of brewing at a lower cost, giving them that IBM business model on the hardware so they can get their gardens addicted to the software. And of course, I have a selfish interest. I want you to use Boogie, but actually, go back and watch the open source videos. I don't want you to use Boogie. I want you to use tea and rock dust, honestly, and get it as cheaply as possible. It should be every community in America should be providing these solutions as cheaply as possible. When we ship you rock dust, it's absurd. You're paying more than half the cost is in the shipping. And these things are a pain in the ass. So start encouraging your local nurseries, your local hardware stores, your local feed stores to please feature this stuff. Get it as locally as possible. There's places all over that have quarries and mining, unfortunately, operations. So since we've scarred the earth, with these operations, then yes, one of the best trickle down, benefits we can get out of it is what would otherwise be a nuisance, a dusty nuisance, of particulate, and take that particulate, put it into your soil, duplicate the results, the Himalayan people, the longest living Hunza Valley Indians on earth, and yes, go ahead and supercharge it with some tea.
So Josh, I still think the rock dust, as good as it is still better than the compost tea for this main reason, right? I mean, you mentioned it yourself. Rock dust is available at quarries near you. Many quarries that crush up stone and rock. You want to try to get like a basalt or volcanic rock or some of the best types that's crushed down into a little powder. And it literally, for the quarries, this is a waste product that you can actually take sometimes for free, put in your garden, get good results. Whereas to make compost tea, you should have an excellent quality worm castings, and you got to have a lot of other ingredients you got to source, and maybe it'd be a pain to get some of them. So rock dust is much more available for all the people out there, even without having to go to a nursery or buy the special horticulture grade stuff, which I use in my garden. I would recommend to you guys, but you guys could get it as a waste product at local quarries, and I do have already a video on this, Josh. So see, it's kind of more sustainable because you don't have to go out and make your worm castings and add all these exotic ingredients that were made in factories and all this kind of stuff, and they got to be shipped all over.
Hold on a minute. We talked about that in the last video about my little rant there. It's going to take more energy to mine rocks and crush rocks than for communities to have sensible worm farms and sensible compost facilities. I know a gentleman who gets a lot of byproducts from natural flooring industry. He has a client, he's a counselor, a lawyer, and he has a client who installs beautiful stone floors in the San Francisco Bay Area, and he's gotten so many trickle down, what I would call Josh me down if it was my flooring company, rock particles, and his wife has used them for all kinds of really lovely displays, whole patios, and then also the natural, granite ones, have been crushed up more. The smaller particles go into his garden, and everything rages, especially when he feeds it my tea.
But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, most quarries are not mining for rock dust, they're mining for other reasons, for rocks to put in underlayment in sidewalks and all kinds of crazy stuff, and they have this available near you, So I'm not saying like we should destroy the earth to mine it, because that's a whole nother topic, that we're not going to discuss. But rock dust is much more available than compost tea, and it's more beneficial. Look at the longest lived peoples on the earth, the Hunzas, and other populations that use, grow in nutrient dense soil, and they're not sitting out there spraying compost tea. Compost tea is a new modern invention,
Actually, it was not that new. Hippies have been doing it up in Humboldt since the 60s. So, with our product, you don't need to buy any plastic jugs or liquids. You can activate your own tea for pennies per gallon from biodegradable, breathable packaging. This is a 6-pounder. This makes you over 100 gallons. What I'm willing to bet, John, is that economically, if somebody spends $40, $50, $1 a pound delivered price on some rock dust, and they spend the same amount for the GYG killer deal, of course, the Boogie Bro, or for you ladies out there, the Boogie Babe deal, on the tea, or even if you make your own, which is, even better deal, I think, bang for your buck, you're going to see better results using the tea, and it's so easy. If you can brew a pot of coffee, like I said, or make a pot of herbal tea, or French press, or juice, and that takes all more time. The tea, you just put a clean air stone, make sure you dry out your air stones between. Obviously, there's some maintenance, but still, and you don't have to breathe all that particulate, and it's already in the tea, and you're getting in there and activating what's already in the soil, the crushed up rock that's supposed to be in the earth, and the earth's built on rock, and it's way down below, and the tea is like that hummus falling from the redwood needles, and it's just building up naturally, and the tea takes that like hundreds of times over. I've been told that using the tea is like cheating by these ladies that go and graduate from the there's a school in Santa Cruz where you can learn how to be a community farmer, and we tripled the yields at the Petaluma Bounty Farm 3 years ago. They were really nervous about sustaining 24, 25 food baskets a week, and we got them over 70. They said it would have taken them 2-3 seasons to build up the web of life that they saw with their little amateur electron microscopes that was built using the tea that we were able to donate them. And on 2 acres, I think they maybe 200 total pounds of tea that were used. So, come on, for that kind of investment, That's so little. Money's like manure. Spread it around, real thinly. The tea allows you to do that. Imagine how much rock dust it would have taken to triple the yields at a community 2-acre farm. That's a lot of carbon footprint versus about 200 pounds of tea over the course of a whole season. So, I don't know. Success leaves clues. Follow the clues. We all know rock dust is killer. It works. I'm urging you all to just consider not spending every last dime this season on rock dust and really consider getting a one-stop shop solution like our Boogie Brew, or even better, your own open source compost tea recipes. Take the effort to make that tea. Infuse it and use it before you lose it. Whip up that wicked batch of biology. Get out there and you can use one of those. We should do a video about it here. Those hose end sprayers, if you can find one that works, I agree. Some of them are funky, but for $10, it's worth a shot. The Chameleon, if it breaks, you can bring it back. It's got a 10-year warranty. And you can cover so much real estate without breathing any, particles. And it's just easy. It's really, really easy. It truly is. I mean, if you can take a shower and scrub your body down with a natural earth soap, soap, for God's sakes. My wife's always bugging me, Josh, did you take your shower today? And then, I mean, come on, it's that easy. You can just brew the tea once a week. Okay, so it's easy. This is easier.
He's talking about easy. I want to make gardening for you guys easy. One of the things for me is I don't like to have, things that expire. And if you don't use the tea after 24 hours optimally, right, the bacterial count goes down. It's not optimal to use. Like rock dust, if you're lazy like me and it just sits in a bag, it can sit in a bag forever and not ever, ever, ever go bad. The compost tea, if it's a nice active mixture, may break down over time, and then you'll lose all the biology.
But John, hold on a minute. Don't forget, we've made our new 2-part tea, so that actually has extended the life expectancy. We've made it even stronger. The base is richer. The boost is stronger percentages. And this stuff is at least a year, probably more like 2-year shelf life. So, I mean, come on. Who's not going to whip up a wicked batch of tea biology in 2 seasons? Give me a break.
No, but once you brew it, though, you got to infuse it or lose it before you use it, whatever you say. But the rock dust, man, it never goes bad. And well, Josh, I want to, okay, so for you guys out there watching, make a comment down below. Who do you think won this battle, right? Me or Josh? Do you think after listening to us, compost tea is better or rock dust is better? I just want to know your guys' opinions down below.
Well, actually, if you were going to strand me on a desert island and allow me to pick one horticultural input only, it wouldn't be either of these.
Shit.
It would have to be good worm castings that you make yourself and that you feed. If you're going to use one, soil input, one product, oh, you're going to hate me for saying this. It's that stinky stuff, the fish, the pure protein. I love that stuff. That stuff is amazing.
All right, Josh, let's get back on track. We're talking about compost tea and the rock dust. And as much as I like the rock dust, I'm going to have to agree with Josh that, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? The rocks came first, but then the bacteria, bred on the minerals in the earth and the seawater, whatever, and then they multiplied, and then now we're here, right? So, I mean, it's almost a symbiosis. So they're both really important to your garden. And I want you guys to do actually both of them, as good as they each are individually, right? I want to encourage you guys, instead of thinking right and wrong, good and bad, which is better, rock dust or compost tea? How about they're both good, and you want to use them both, and we want to, instead of having this compartmentalized mentality in the world, oh yeah, I'm going to use this and walk with blinders on. I want you guys to have an inclusive, belief in the world, and that's one of the reasons why I like the Boogie Brew compost tea, because, Josh literally includes some of the best ingredients, including things like the rock dust in his compost tea. So you're getting trace amounts of rock dust when you get the compost tea, and after you brew it, you're going to take out the tea stuff that you brewed and then add that to your garden soil as well, and you're going to get some of the benefits in there. Josh, would you agree with this? Finally, can we agree that we can agree? Both?
We can agree to agree. And thank you. I appreciate the little campaigning there on behalf of Boogie, and absolutely, that is what's wrong with our whole society, John, is this divisiveness that we, this you versus me, you know, left versus right, you know, the people that believe in cannabis versus the people who still believe in prohibition, you know. And it's good to bring all collective thought processes, opinions, and products, you know, good and bad together and distill all the really good stuff. The truth always comes out. And we've done an honest job, we really have, with this bulk granola recipe. And that's the thing, you're getting a bit of everything that you get to activate yourself for pennies per gallon, you know. And it's just... I love you all for being so supportive of Boogie Brew and digging this product so much. I want to thank you all. I'm actually suffering a heavy dose of what I call orderitis. It's still only March. I'm already boogie burned, you know. But I'm having a chat with my self-esteem about it, and we're scaling and trying to produce more. But like I said, this needs to stay a decentralized business model. You all need to be making your own Boogie clone recipe teas yonder, you know, getting the rock dust yonder. It's really important, folks. Time is running out, all right? I moved here in the 80s. I've been here 30 years. If America stays the way it is now for another 30 years, I don't even want to be in the future in that society in another 30 years, all right? So I'm 47 now. I moved here when I was 18, all starry-eyed from England, a land where everyone gardens, you know. Took it all for granted, this suburbia business model. I'll go on a rant about plastic, but I'm just as guilty as anyone of having consumed, you know, convenience, plastic food, you know, wrapped foods. These conveniences we've been so conditioned to for the last 30 years have become mighty inconvenient. And so it's really important that you take things like rock dust and tea and your own worm castings and start doing it on every street corner. It is the future. You know, there's a place here in Sonoma County, it's the Honor Farm, and it's a jail for the low-level, the quote, organic offenders out there, right? The low-level offenders. And you usually go there for a probation violation. We're very lucky that this county still has such a jail facility. But here's the thing, and I've never thought about it until just now. The guys who are lucky enough, if you call it a blessing, to stay there for 6 months, get to enroll in an organic landscaping, organic growing, organic gardening program. And some of them go out and become actual certified organic landscapers and, you know, make that their career. Regardless, the ones who are lucky enough to do that are blessed and have earned a life skill, which we've all forgotten. You know, and now, of course, I mean, it's in your blood, it's in your DNA. 1,000 videos later, it's not that hard. You know, guys go there for 6 months, the Honor Farm, and come out doing what you do, and that's what we all need to do. So people tell me all the time how contagious this is, how addicted to your videos, you know, they are, and how, I mean, I get calls, you know, like I said before in the last video that I ranted about, I get calls from you all, and I hear it from, you know, just regular people. I was doing Miracle-Gro last year. I'm done. You know, I'm going to grow my food. I'm doing it organically. I'm doing it sustainably. They're hunting on Craigslist for local, sensibly priced compost. People are getting savvier. In the 3 years I've been selling Boogie Brew through you on this channel, I've seen it change, and it's going to change dramatically more so. People were a lot more tepid about all this 3 years ago. And now it's real and present, and people are really focused on it. And I'm imagining in 3 more years, I don't know. I have no crystal ball. But the curve I've seen is people are getting real antsy about these changes. And that's why here's the only thing stronger than the BB, the Boogie Brew, is the BC, the Boogie Challenge. And the challenge is to you and to you all who follow this man. It is up to you to overthrow the mighty M. I'm sorry to single out, and you gremlins out there, you trolls, I know you're going to come out and, oh my god, he's off his rocker, this crazy boogie boy. No, this is serious. That last video you just did on, you know, illegal seed sharing, and obviously the response to that, this is a war. You know, I'm not trying to militarize you all. Be the immaculate church of the mellow profile growing apostle tribe that go out there and really make a difference by planting heirloom seeds. Commit a criminal act in your state, in your county, in your jurisdiction of planting heirloom seeds and using non-GMO and using all organic materials and changing 80 years of this suburban experiment, which has gone hopelessly wrong. I mentioned in that last rant video the movie The End of Suburbia. I urge you all to watch that. That's the one movie that every time I've seen it like 20, 30 times, I'm like, I see something new in it. I'm like, oh my God, we've been doing everything so wrong. Yet another piece of that jigsaw puzzle of this suburban experiment that, as I said before, 10 calories of fossil fuel energy are needed for 1 calorie of food energy to be grown and produced and sold, distributed in this country. This cannot go on. We now have this fracking bonanza where the fossil fuel energy is now still, expensive, but affordable enough to keep the status quo rolling. It's going to be painful to get off of the whole oil and gas train. But Peter Gabriel did it. He doesn't even fly anymore, He's like, no, it's great to see the world, but, I'm done flying, the carbon footprint. This is where it begins. If everybody did what you do, John, and lived as minimally as you do, God knows you're cheap. But it's great. I mean, that is the real economy. I'm not getting rich from Boogie Brew. There's no way. But this is what keeps me going is, having a conversation at you all on the video now. But more importantly is these phone calls I get, and that's really the emotional reward. It's an emotional currency I'm getting from doing this. This is a pain in the ass. I got tea in my nails, I don't know.
I got dirt in my nails.
Yeah, you're definitely not getting rich from growing your greens. You keep your juicer business as autopiloted as you can. So his greater mission of getting this out there, 1,000 videos. When I met John, it was how many? 60, 70,000 subscribers. Oh, dude, your subscriber base, you're such a hero. Everyone loves you. So it's not about that. It's about what you all are doing. It really is about this tribe. It's not about the man you watch. And you know that. And so, like I said, this is what keeps me going. This is Josh's juju. All right? Whether you use rock dust or my tea or your own, I don't care. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thumbs down if I'm just getting a little too crazy. That's fine, I'll take it. I'll be thick-skinned.
Thumbs up if you like it.
Yeah, there you go.
Josh, so trying to get back on a topic because Josh gets a bit ranty and gets off topic a little bit. Seriously, I teach you guys organic gardening, and this is important to me as well as to Josh. We need to get off the chemical fertilizers, and, a cornerstone of my organic gardening practice and what I do is the rock dust and the composting. It makes me really sad that most organic gardeners teaching organic gardening they're not talking about rock dust and compost tea, man. They're talking about organic, chicken pellets in a bag or some, organic fertilizer in a jug and all this crap, right? We want to get back to basics, and at least these are some of the closest basics, although not supernatural or, whatever as you could, earthy, crunchy, like compost, but it will get you the results and get you and allow you to grow the highest quality food,
it will.
Highest yields, and have the explosive garden that you guys all want to make your neighbors envious like mine are. So Josh, I don't want to go on too much longer, but I do want to let you guys know that because I feel the rock dust is so important, and Josh feels the compost tea is so important, which I also feel it's really important. I've negotiated hard with Josh, beating him down on the price so that you guys could not just get one, not just the other, but both of them together at a killer deal. And plus, we're going to offer you guys an additional component that I believe is also critical that, once again, most organic gardeners do not talk about, although many hydroponic farmers do. It's the mycorrhiza. So Josh, you want to talk about the mycorrhiza and why the fungus, in addition to the bacteria in there and the minerals in here, is so important for your plants.
So John, this is actually a really sexy product. I really like this stuff. I know you're not happy that it comes in plastic, neither are we. We're negotiating with the manufacturers. Greenstone Organics, put out by the Urban Farms wholesale label. And these guys, we actually know them pretty well. They're woven into the social fabric of the hydro industry. And I think it's just great that the Northern California, the Caliwana Republic medical growing community and that industry can contribute such valuable products to just organic backyard farmers. Maybe your grandma out there who moisturizes her skin in Florida with her own aloe vera plant that she adds Boogie Brew to. Now, how do you want to make that plant even healthier, and the soil that it lives in, and the symbiotic relationship that that soil enjoys with its root structure. How do you really want to make that explosively healthy and strong? You're going to take this product, Greenstone Organics. I've never seen a product like this. 288,000 propagules per pound.
Wow.
That's 4 times the amount, or double the amount I know of as the strongest in the industry. I told you, these guys don't mess around. Greenstone. They're amazing. So this foundation product, and yes, we're going to have it in much more sensible, biodegradable packaging that also allows it to breathe a bit, which is important, I honestly think. But this stuff is awesome. And what you want to do is get this highly water soluble, supercharged, very, very strong, very concentrated fungal, what they're called the orca species, the whales, the real killer fungal dominators, right? So there's only 4 species in here, but they're the ones who really go to battle for your roots, and they're the ones that gobble up all the other younger species, right? So you want to get this stuff in contact with your roots. So in John's case, well, he always has stuff already in the ground. Obviously, the ideal time to apply, and you always do, when you have the stuff available, the granulated products, the mycorrhizae, we have that too, is right to those bare root transplants. The mycorrhizae aren't going to work for you unless you give them a home to live in, which is the rhizosphere itself. That's very important. But this is a water-soluble formula. I like that these guys were intelligent and put it in clay, because clay is a fabulous matrix for good biology. It always adheres to it really well. A super soluble clay, and absolutely loaded with fungal cultures. 288,000 propagules per pound. That's an obscene level.
That is. That's crazy, Josh.
Yeah.
So what do these mycorrhizal fungi do on the roots, man? Do they have sex?
If they do, it better be good.
They're making love to the soil like Josh likes to do
yeah.
the good soil.
I could make love to good soil biology, that is true, but I don't know about mycorrhizae. But no, this stuff is just awesome. If you colonize your roots with this, they will absolutely explode, okay? There's volumes, reams of university studies and research out there on the benefits of using mycorrhizal products. There's 2 genres. There's the endo and there's the ecto. So the endo species for 80 to 90% of the vegetables, fruits that are grown in the gardens of America today respond really well to the endo. The ecto is actually for trees. So once you get into, not strawberry fruits, but your bigger fruit trees, like your apple trees, then they have the ecto. But this is, of course, geared towards the hydro industry's primary target customers, the 420 heads out there. But nonetheless, you regular backyard gardeners, 80 to 90% of what you grow is going to directly benefit from this stuff. So yeah, we're put together a package where we're going to give you rock dust, we're going to give you the world's greatest compost tea value, the bulk granola new 2-part Boogie Brew Pro with the base and the boost, and we're also going to give you the ultimate fungal starter for those roots. All right, and if you dust your brand new bare root transplants with this stuff, they will rock. They will turn into thick ropes in no time. If you've already transplanted, no worries. This happens to be a super water soluble formula. Like I said, fungally supercharged like I've never seen. We've never sold a mycorrhizal product until we discovered this stuff. We love this stuff. There it is. There's your magic trio, all right?
These should be your foundation in your organic garden. The foundation, soluble mycorrhizae by Greenstone, the Boogie Brew compost tea, or another compost tea that you DIY yourself, and the rock dust. I mean, these are super important ingredients to me. I've been using mycorrhizae for years now. You can check my videos from like 4 years ago when I grew some tomatoes, and I have a video of how the tomatoes look on some I treated with mycorrhizae and some I didn't. The ones that were treated, man, they blew up insane, man. So if you really want to have that garden you've always desired, some of the healthiest plants, some of the most nutritious plants, you really got to get this package. So Josh, what are you going to do for my people out there to, what's the value on this stuff, and what kind of deal are they going to get?
So they're going to get 6 pounds of the Boogie Brew Pro 2-part tea, enough to make over 100 gallons, 44 pounds of Cascade Minerals, which is, in my humble opinion, the best granulated bacterial surface area basalt deposit, rich in the magnesium and the calcium and the iron. I love dark minerals are great, just like a dark, rich, earthy compost tea is great. And then the mycorrhizae, the foundation. We forgot to mention its name until we started talking about it. But yeah, the foundation by Greenstone Organics. I'm very excited about this product. You're going to get 4 ounces of that. And John has bullied us once again into giving you a super special deal on these 3 products in a one-stop box, all in one box. It's crazy. We were up late last night fighting with each other like you can see we do, you know. Best of frenemies, figuring out what's going to go into this super valued Uber rock box. We're calling it the Rock Box Plus. It's no longer, honestly, in my opinion, yeah, this is the heaviest part of the box, but these are the goodies you're really getting in that box. And we're going to do it for, I think you bullied me down to $79.
$79.99 for a limited time only. So if you're watching this video, jump on this because the price will go up very soon.
$79.99 for a limited time, okay? While the wife allows it. And then that's the real Boogie Boss, all right? With one of these things, all right? I have two choices, buddy, all right? John, your future wife, she's out there watching, right?
Hi, Lauren.
Once he has this, he has two choices, right? Guess what they are for me? Well, I can be happy, or I can be right, but never both.
Yeah, all you guys out there, take note. And I mean, he's learned a lot in his whatever 47 years he's been alive. That's one of the most important things. I learned this a little bit younger than that, but you know.
Happy wife, happy life, all right? So I'm just the voice, the face of Boogie Brew, all right? The real Boogie Boss is the other half, all right? We started together 5 years ago. So for a limited time, $79.99, but then we're going to have to bump it up to $89.99. Still a screaming deal. I mean, we have that combo deal out there for 99 bucks. We sell so many of those bloody combo deals, these rock boxes. But what is, you know, am I a compost tea company? Or am I a freaking rock dust reseller? I mean, I understand you have to give your customer, the maxim, is you have to give your customer what they want. So I get that. You guys all want a lot of rock dust. Fine, I'll keep selling it to you, but try and source it locally. Eventually, I want to see you all making your own Boogie clone tea. I talk too much. I never talk poop, is the truth. I don't want to be the Donald Trump of compost teas. Donald, I hope you're watching this.
Yeah,
You know,
start
doesn't
growing
matter
your
how many
food, Donald.
billion- It doesn't matter
Order
how
this
many-
package.
Right.
Josh will send it to you for free.
Hell no, I'll make that guy pay. He's the one guy who can pay. It doesn't matter if you have billions, Boogie billions. What good does it do you, you know?
If you don't have your health because you're not eating fresh fruits and vegetables, the highest quality that money cannot buy in our society.
That's true. And also, going back to talking about a more esoteric value and the juju, I love to get away from Boogie for a day when he's in town and come here and actually help in his garden. And there's nothing more natural and nothing more relaxing and nurturing of an experience. Then this is where it comes into, it's not that I want to make love to the soil, I just want to be around it. It's as good as making love. And that's pretty good. All right, so that's what I mean by that. You all know that. And just the act of gardening and what our hands are shaped to do and what our minds enjoy. Find me one person who doesn't enjoy being in a beautiful garden environment. And here's the thing. 100 years ago, it didn't have to be an edible garden. Now it has to be edible. You have no choice. You don't. Because the alternative is this hopeless system of food distribution and redistribution and the carbon footprint and the corporatization of it all, and that has to stop. And I'm saying it with such urgency in my voice. It's far more important to me than Boogie Brew. And you buying such a killer rock dust blah 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 super package. We're just trying to support ourselves here with giving you these killer deals. But honestly, the real foundation is being built by you with the hands that God gave you. And going out there and building raised beds. Immaculate Church of the Mellow Low Profile Gardening Apostles. Quietly building a revolution that no number of guns could ever do. Monsanto doesn't care if you fire nuclear-powered rocket, full artillery at it. They'll just come out with their own stronger. But if you just say, I'm not subscribing to your business model and your view of how I'm supposed to live in this world and this whole thing of commerce, it's gotten too perverted. I believe in capitalism, but not when it destroys all of us.
Once again, I want to encourage you guys, especially those of you guys, because I know most of you guys watching are already growing your food. and I want you guys to take it to the next level and, you know, buy these products or source these same products somewhere else. Get a good deal on it. You're probably not going to beat this price if you can't get these things local, because Josh ain't making a lot of money and nobody's going to bust their ass shipping all this shit for as cheap as Josh does. And I'm glad that Josh is making these products available so that you guys can take your garden to the next level. But I know many of you guys out there are still not growing yet, so I want you, encourage you guys, you know, if this video has motivated you, if this video has fired you up, you know, start this season now. Build some raised beds, put them in, you know, buy this stuff, get some plant starts, you know, start things from seed and grow the best stuff. And yes, it will be a learning curve, but your guys are gonna be using some of the best stuff to have the best probability of success, and all you gotta do is, you know, not water too much and not water too little, and, you know, don't plant under a tree, and you're gonna have some of the most incredible food ever. So Josh, any last comments before we close out this video?
Just God bless you all for listening. You know, obviously I like an audience a little too much. You know, when I'm around you, it's like, be careful what you wish for, keep me on a leash, but really, it's up to you to make that change. I don't want, if I'm lucky enough to be blessed with children and grandchildren, I don't want to have to look them in the eye, John, when I get old, and have them say to me, what were you thinking? How did you allow 80 years of this suburban, it hasn't even been 100 years, all right? It directly tracks like cannabis prohibition, this wonderful plant, hemp. We'll save that for another episode. All right, but it's really time to change. And what you all are doing out there is the most monumental change. It really, truly is. Tell everyone to start doing it too, please.
I want to encourage you guys, one of my favorite sayings by Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world, and that's simply what I try to do. And share that with you guys so that you guys could do it too if you want, and if you're ready to change and do it as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to get the special deal to get these 3 top products that I'd recommend, and I want to encourage other gardening teachers out there to start teaching people about these. And yes, there are ways you could make your own compost tea. There are ways you can make your own and get your own free, you know, mycorrhizae, and you could get your own rock dust, whether you buy this or not. You want to start using these ingredients and spreading this to others, because I think it's far too long that we're caught up in this commerce system where you got to buy this organic fertilizer in a bag, which works to some extent, but I want you guys to have the best garden ever. So if you want to get this deal, check them out at boogiebrew.net/GYG.
GYG, folks.
I'll put a link down below this video, and I guess go out and order it and have the best growing season ever. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And once again, post down below if in the beginning of the video you think I won or you think Josh won, because I'm just kind of curious to see. And of course, put your comments if you're already on the rock dust and compost tea and what amazing growth you've had, because there are so many skeptics out there that, you know, all this kind of stuff, but the stuff does work if you do it right. And you need to, you know, to activate the rock dust, literally the microbes will come, but it might take a little bit of time. But if you got the compost tea, you're adding the microbes that's directly needed to digest the rock dust to make it plant available. Super critical, super important. And with that, I'm gonna actually close this out.
Hold on, John. Listen, man, I love you, brother. You know, thanks for that good little scrap. The French have a saying: you trust the couples who squabble publicly, right, and sort their poop out. And that's certainly the case with my wife and I, and that's why Boogie Brew's still around, by the way. And so, you know, God bless you. You just got a little emotional there. You know, that's just awesome. Keep that flame going. Thank you again for doing what you all are doing. Remember, he's just the spark plug, the catalyst. You all are the high-octane fuel itself. You will create a fire that will extinguish the mighty M and just the corporatization of our life, of our whole world. So please keep doing it and keep spreading the word.
I want to encourage you guys to get out there and get growing today. And with that, my name is John Kohler with my special guest, Josh Cuttings, the Boogie Brew Company. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keep on growing. This is John Cole with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today another exciting episode for you. I'm just here working in my backyard, preparing this second raised bed that's now getting pretty much full sun now, since I chopped down some of the trees in like the last episode. And what I thought I'd do, because I did have some perennial style crops in here that did make
the right infuser, you know.
We'll stop this and we'll just redo it over. Don't eat ice cream.
Is he gonna turn around or go? He goes
I think he goes around the block.
How many of those has he been in? How many videos has he been in?
A lot.